Welcome to the Soulfire Podcast, where every day we talk about real life, real shit, real raw. On this show, you can expect us to dive deep into topics like marriage, parenting, money, business, feeling like you want to give up, fighting for yourself, just straight soul healing. This podcast is all about life. Hey there, it's Power Coach Alishia here, your source of fun, funny, exciting, entertaining, and educational life coaching, transformational speaking, and soul healing. We're talking about setting your soul on fire. I specialize in helping women put themselves first without feeling guilty, getting out of their own way, and finding themselves again. No fluff, no hand-holding, no bullshit here, just love, light, and peace as we journey through this thing called life. Hello there, and welcome to the first actual episode of the Soulfire Podcast. It's Power Coach Alishia here, and we are going to be talking about getting rid of your victim mentality surrounding your past. So again, getting rid of your victim mentality surrounding your past. So I've talked about this a lot in the past, or maybe even just a little bit, but kind of like loop back to it. So I definitely want to talk about it again because I see it coming up in a lot of people that I am working with and talking to. So in my introduction, and I hope that you listen to it because although it was the introduction to me and this podcast, it also was there's a lot of teaching points in it about your power stories and your strength foundations. And I want to carry that into this episode because usually the people that gravitate towards me are people who are telling victim stories and fear-based, like, foundations or crumbling foundations, right? And I want to help you turn those things from victim stories and fear-based crumbling foundations to power stories and strength foundations. Because like I said in that introduction, we can go through really shitty things in life and you have a choice to make in every one of these situations. And either you're the victim and that's the reason why, and it holds you back now today and stops you from, and it's the bad that happened and it's because of this and that you're a complete shit show. Or it's that you said, fuck this, no more. Here's the lessons that I learned. This is how it made me stronger. This is how it's, grown me into the next level version of myself. This is what I'm, never going to do again. Right. And then taking those next steps, like those are your options. And one thing that I find a lot of the time is you're not choosing. You're just allowing the default to happen. And we will talk a shit ton about default modes. But you're just allowing the shit to happen, right? And because of that, you look at me and say, I don't recognize myself. I've gained whatever many pounds. I look in the mirror and I don't even see me there. I feel like I'm just a zombie going through the motions, going through my life, that I'm here. I just exist. Fill in the blank, fill in the blank, fill in the blank, fill in the blank. I hear those things. And so if you connect to that, we're going to talk about that right now because really, truly, you get stuck in this victim. And let me just kind of define this a little bit because there's different levels of the victim mentality, right? There's the victim mentality that wallows and fucking makes everybody around them miserable. And the people who aren't willing to wallow with them are annoyed by that person, right? Then there's victim mentality, and this is the person who all these things happened, and this person keeps telling the stories over and over and over again, but they say they want it to change. Okay? And then there's so these two examples that I just gave you, these people are living in victim. And then then the third example of the victim mentality is the person who gets there and then is fighting their way out, maybe slips back a little bit, but then fights their way out more. So they're the person that is making forward progress, but maybe at a slower rate than what they really should be, right? To get through that. And when I say should, I'm using that term like lightly. I'm not saying should as in like it. I'm not saying should by any definition but mine. Okay. Or that person feels like they should, right? I just wanted to take a quick drink so I wasn't coughing in your ear the whole time. All right. So this happens because of the stories that you tell yourself. So when you continually tell yourself and other people the same stories, what happens is you are renewing that story's quote unquote newness in your life. And so, especially if the story that you're telling is something that is a negative, it brings up a negative energy or emotion in you. If it brings up a negative energy or emotion in you, then that story that you're telling is really, really, really bad. You might not think it's bad, right? In your head, it's not a bad thing. Like, why would that be a bad thing? Well, it's a bad thing because you continuing to tell this story is renewing its shitty contract with your soul. Let's go with it that way, okay? It's a shitty contract that you're renewing, and it's destroying you in ways all over again because it's not a power story. It's not a strength foundation. It's something that doesn't feel good. It puts a knot in your stomach. It's the crumbly victim, okay? Now, here's the thing that is really crazy. These stories you tell on autopilot and you don't even realize it. These are the stories you say, well, no, I'm just explaining it to her or him or her or whatever or them so they understand what I've been through or so they understand what I'm going through or they understand how I'm feeling about said thing. And that's one thing. But if you're telling the story over and over and over again to different people, that's where it becomes a problem. That's where it becomes you not telling the story so that you can grow. That becomes where you're telling that story because you're a victim. And that's where things are not good. That's where things can really, really, really go bad for you. And if you do that over and over and over throughout your lifetime, that wherever you're at right now, whatever your age is right now, those stories become the dark places that live within you. And when you stop telling them, you just shove them down. You're not feeling better. You haven't worked through them. You haven't grown through them, right? You just shove them down and it's like a bucket that lives within the depths of your soul stomach, right? You know that place I'm talking about that's deep down in there. You're like, yep, that's going there. Yep, I'll just put that there next to this shit. And I'll just put that there next to that shit. And I'll just put that there next to, this situation that I went through that, I haven't worked through. You have them. Unless you have already worked through all of that. Most people that gravitate towards me have what I call dark places. And those dark places stemmed from repetitive stories that they never worked through. And then they just shoved them in the fuck it bucket deep down in their soul stomach. Then what happens is there's extended versions written and alternate endings written that you add over the years and times of telling these stories that don't aid you at all and end up making you feel that much worse. And here's the thing. The only way to release that, to stop that, to let go of that, is to stop telling the same victim stories that have kept you stuck or that have got you to this place, and you write a new book. That's how I verbalize it, right? I love analogies, by the way. You've told the story. The people who matter know the story. And if they don't, that's a different coaching session, right? You understand how it made you feel, how it affected you, what it did to you. And let me be real. I am talking about way shitty stories here too. I'm not talking about trivial shit. May sound like it, but it could be being raped. It could be being molested. It could be being beat by your partner. I'm not saying that these stories are not impactful to you and that they didn't damage you. What I am saying is that they don't deserve the power and the energy and the space to keep damaging you and impacting you. And the only person that can stop them from having that power and space is you. The challenge, though, which I completely understand, I've done this for a long time, I've helped people for a long time, and that is that you don't know how to stop these stories from continuing to be damaging and impactful. And when you think that you've stopped them, someone says or does something that triggers it, and boom, it's right back again. Like, how the fuck did that happen? Like, I've been through that. And that is a huge indicator right there that you haven't really done the work you thought you did, is if somebody does or says something that triggers it and it just brings it all right back. That's how you know it lives in the dark depths of your soul, right? Because it can still be brought back up way easier than you thought, right? And it's interesting because I'll even work with people who say, yeah, I mean, I've worked through that. I've grown through that. You know, it's not something that hinders me anymore. But yet that same person could be moving forward. Let's say in this example, this woman moved forward to launch her own business, and it was healing people through trauma. And, you know, she had worked through all her trauma according to her. Yet when I would watch her from my perspective, she had not healed herself through her trauma fully. I think she definitely had grown through it a lot. So in her mind, she was healed. But it's like layers. It's not just one layer. When you're healing, when you're letting go of and moving from a victim story to a power story, it's not just a year's worth of work. It's not just a book that you read. It's not just a podcast that you listen to. It's ongoing. And maybe for the rest of your life of peeling it back, going deeper, growing through it, and, you know, emerging stronger. And then peeling back and going deeper and emerging through it, or growing stronger, right? Like it's an evolutionary process. And when I'm watching her build this business and we're in this same coaching group and she's talking all about what's holding her back and the words she was using and the phrasing she was using and how she kept getting stuck. You know, one of the things that she hadn't grown through was self-confidence. So she may have grown through the pain of the trauma and the impact of the trauma and the depth of the trauma, but she didn't build back up her confidence. So when she was stepping out in quote unquote faith, she didn't have the faith in herself. And it stemmed all the way back from what the trauma had done and affected her confidence. Now, I wasn't hired as her life coach, so I never told her this. I told her bits and pieces when she would ask my opinion about this or that, but I never told her this because she didn't hire me as her life coach. And so, therefore, it's something I can bring to you and say, listen, your journey and personal growth and growing through the shit that you've been through never ends. It's wonderful because it evolves and you get more power and more power and more power from it when you're working through it with strength, like not with strength, but I guess with strength. But when you're working through it, let me rephrase, when you're fighting for yourself to grow through it, right? And in my world, you're going to learn how to fight for yourself. This podcast is going to be wonderful for you. And if you join one of my paid programs, it's going to be that much better for you. My Soul Circle is one of the best places anyone who wants to get out of their own way, put themselves first without feeling guilty, learn how to fight for themselves and find themselves again. That's the best place for you to be because it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg, but the transformation that you get and being in the Soul Circle is unbelievable. And so I'll link it here in the show notes. And, you know, you might hear me drop my programs or a free workshop that I'm doing. And I'm always going to do that because anything that we talk about here on the podcast is just one piece of a huge, like, amazing world of Power Coach Alishia, of what I deliver in my life coaching. So you're going to get power hair. It's going to be pure badassery. You're going to leave the episode like you will leave today. You've already gotten a major like aha, holy fucking shit moment in this session. I know that because that's how I deliver, right? So I know that you already have gotten that and you're going to continue to get that. There's just so much more where that came from. So I do want you to know, if you ever pay me to be your coach, your life coach, whether it's one-on-one coaching or in Soul Circle, you're going to get more. It's going to be more in depth. It's going to be more powerful. It's going to be more badassery, kick your ass, push you to greatness and emerging where you're fighting for yourself and rising through those growth levels that we're talking about. So you're going to listen to podcasts like you have today, and you may not get at the end of that episode, okay, do this, do that, do this, do that, do this. But pay attention when you get those gut checks. Pay attention when you get that connection that's like, fuck yeah, like that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's exactly it. Oh my God. That's how I got stuck. That's where I'm stuck. That's how I'm feeling. How did she know that? Did she hear me? Did she look at my Facebook? Did she read my messages? Da-da-da. When you get that gut check, that is you getting your aha, that takeaway, that connection that your soul needed from that session. I named this podcast Soul Fire for a specific reason, okay? So just know that. Funny enough, now that I just said that, and by the way, I scroll sometimes, I literally at like 2:00 in the morning a few days ago created my acronym for FIRE of Soul Fire. It's actually an acronym. Let me see if I can remember what I said it was. Freeing yourself of the shit that's holding you back to ignite the fire that lives within you, to renew, reclaim, rejuvenate. I have a whole bunch of words, but those are the only ones I can think of. Rejuvenate you every single day. I love it. So it's like almost tight to that. One of these days, I'll get you the exact acronym for FIRE, but I'm pretty damn close. And that was something I woke up in the middle of the night, came up with the acronym, fell back asleep, and never wrote it down. So that's pretty damn good for off the cuff. So you should be proud. All right. So before I wrap up this episode, I want to share with you a little story here. So this is an older story, but it's a really good one. And it's just so relevant to still what I see today with women who continually put themselves off for tomorrow for something else that's more important today. And there's nothing more important than you, by the way. So Sundays is my day for cleaning my office. I like to start out the week with a clean desk because it helps me have a clear mind to take action moving forward. So I was in my office and I was cleaning everything up. And before I knew it, I was 3/4 of the way done with cleaning and 2 Facebook messages popped up. Don't ask me why I was on Facebook while I was supposed to be cleaning, just is what it is. Now, one of the messages needed a lot of attention because it was a woman who was stuck in what I like to call pity party mode. And as I read this message, it went on to say how her life has fallen apart. She's lost her job. She's depressed. And the only solution she had within the new year was once her taxes came, she was going to hire me as her mentor and her coach. Okay. And so her solution in her mind was to reactivate with her direct sales business, and that she felt like that would be the thing that would help her get back on the feet. Now, there was a lot more that needed to happen, but in her mind, this was the solution. And it was a great plan if she had the time and the money to waste by not hiring me now. Right. So I wrote an email, like a whole email about this very thing, and I shared it with my group. But I wanted to share this with you here because I think it's so important. Because when I read it, I thought, whoa, wait a minute, right here. It's just barely the beginning of December. Taxes can't be filed until January, which means her returns don't come until February, mid-February, beginning of March. That's if they're not backed up. So you mean to tell me this is the only solution she had? So this is what I said to her. The only choice you have is to wait 60 to 90 days to pull up your big girl panties and take control of your life? Now, I know you might be thinking as you listen to me say that, wow, that's like really mean. That's harsh. That's in her face. That's bold. Like, Alishia, that's so rude. You don't know what she's been through. You don't know what she's going through. You don't blah, 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 blah. And you're saying that because you can probably sympathize or empathize with how she's feeling and what she's going through. But the truth is, when you start thinking things like, in the new year, or when I get my taxes, or when this happens, or when that happens, then I will, that is personal power suicide. That is how you lose yourself. That is how you stop yourself from growing and changing and having power stories and strength foundations in your life. That is how you end up depressed. Okay? Everything you're dealing with right now, you have to have a solution for right now. It cannot be a solution that is 60 to 90 days away from now. If you want to be happy, sorry about that. You want to be happy now. You want more money now. You want to live a fulfilled life right now. Well, in order to do all of that, you have to create a plan now, a solution now, a process to let go of, grow through, move through, be more powerful, step into that power and live life as the badass that you are. And by being happy now and making more money now and figuring out what a fulfilled life looks like to you now, then everything will change for you right now. I don't give a fuck whether or not she hires me. The problem in the conversation was that her solution to her life's shit show was 90 days away. And let me tell you, there is a 99% chance you live just like that. You say, I'm going to join this workshop, even though it's free, the next time Power Coach Alishia does it. I'm going to sign up for her soul circle when this happens. I'm going to get that personal development book at next payday. I'm going to sit down and read that book when I have time. I'm going to go to the gym when I can figure out how to get it in my schedule. I'm going to take more time with my kids when I can figure out how to stop working 3 jobs. It's never going to happen. All that shit is never going to happen. All the things that you want to do is never going to happen when you put them off for a future time that is not specific, that is not clear, that's not mapped out. You're just telling yourself that to make you feel better. That's the only reason why you're saying, well, I'll do it then. Because to you, if you say, I'll do it then you're like, okay, well, at least I'm doing something. No, you're not. You're just talking, right? But if it was someone else, you would never do that. You wouldn't put them off for 90 days, right? You wouldn't be there to help them in 90 days when they need the help today. If they were in the mental, emotional, life is crashing down around me state, there's no fucking way you would say, well, I know that this really sucks right now and you're going through a lot. I would definitely, be there for you in like 3 months from now. I'll, loan you that $100 3 months from now. I'll help you with your kids. No, you wouldn't do that. But you do that to yourself. You do that in your own life because you do not make yourself as important as you make everyone and everything else. Does that make sense? And here's one other thing. Pity parties. So often you're stuck in pity parties and feeling sorry for yourself and your life circumstances and situations. When the truth is, it's your actions that got you there and you can actually do something about it. So when you find yourself making a million excuses not to find a solution to the situation you're in, just know that's a pity party. Or when you're putting it off for 90 days from now, here's my story, my victim story of all the shit that's going on. But I'm not going to fix it for 90 days because taxes are going to come. You're going to stay stuck there. And when you're complaining about your life on a regular basis and you're not doing the necessary things to change it, you're having a pity party. So today I'm giving you that permission to eliminate these types of parties from your life because they're holding you back and they're bringing you way down. And there's two very important questions that she asked me when she sent that message. And I want to share with you what my answers were to those questions with the intention of them helping you like I helped her. Okay? There's my watch for you. Everything's dinging. I don't know why. I promise you I turned it all off. Okay. She said, how do you have so much positivity and great success? What do you read or do that fuels that? Before I answer that question here, I want to say to you, people ask me that all the time. And you want to know the truth? Nobody's willing to do the fucking work that I have done to get to where I am. That is why you're not doing what I do. That's why you're where you're at. That's why you're stuck and feeling the way you are. I have given so many people, even my close friends, the advice that has helped change my life and pull me out of holes. And all they can do is make excuses, tell me why they can't do it. They don't have time, having those pity parties. Oh, I don't really like to journal, and they never do it. So one thing I want to mention is when you're going to ask someone, how do you have so much positivity and great success? What do you read? Be willing to do the fucking work or don't waste people's time. I know it's hard. I know that's rough. I'm a tough mama bear. I'm not here to blow smoke. I'm here to invoke change. Or is it evoke? Invoke? Evoke. One of the words, change in you. I want you to get the fuck up and fight. I don't want you to sit there doing the same shit that you've always done. So when she asked me that question, here's my answer. One of the biggest things that I've learned to do is not let what's right in front of me get me down. You need to read the book, The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, or watch the movie every single day for a week on Netflix. And then once a week, and then once every other week, and then once per month to continue that consistency of the foundation of that movie being in you. So I'll say that again. You need to read the book, The Secret, or watch the movie every day for a week, then once a week, then once every other week, and then once a month. Once a month is the least I would recommend. The further I get away from The Secret, the harder it is to get back on the track of that positive frequency and living life from that place. So I recommend that you do it once a month in the bare minimum. And that's really the first thing that changed my life around. It's still what changes my life around. If I feel like my mindset gets too far off track, the first thing I'll do is devour The Secret. I'll listen to it every chance I get for 2 days and just embed it into me. So you can watch The Secret on Netflix, or you could buy the book on Audible. So it's audio, or you can buy it on Amazon. I have it on Audible, a physical book, and I watched the movie. So the next thing I said is get off the couch and create the life you want to live. Because one of the things that she mentioned in the message is that all she does is lay on the couch. And then I said, you ask why I'm always positive and successful. And I put, it's because I'm self-driven and motivated. I don't wallow in my own self-pity. I'm out there making it happen every single day. I let nothing hold me back from achieving greatness. When I have no money, I give some of what I do have away. It's all about getting outside yourself, pulling up your big girl panties and saying, it's time. And then not stopping until you get there, letting nothing get in your way. No waiting, no excuses. Today is the day. Now is your time. You have to believe that you're sick enough of being sick and tired, that you are ready to make a difference in your own life instead of making excuses. I said, you do not wait. Whatever you have to do right now, today is the day that you should be doing it. Okay? That's what I said to her. So I will say to you, when would now be a great time to stop having a pity party and just do it? Whatever it is for you, now is your time, right? Stop the victim stories. Stop them. Stop the shaky, fearful, I can't, and oh my God, and this happened to me, so I'm stuck here. Foundations. No more of the book you've been writing all this time, those chapters that you've been adding to, the extended versions, the alternate endings. Now is the time to say, enough is enough. Today is the day, and right now is the time that I'm going to do something different. I truly hope that you have enjoyed this episode. I am so excited that you're here, and I cannot wait to continue on this journey with you here on the Soul Fire podcast. I will see you next time. Remember, give yourself some grace. Say yes to yourself more than you say yes to other people, and it's always about progress, not perfection.